Hey guys, it's Danny. Welcome to a new Q&A session. Today I'm going to be answering more of the questions you left in the comment section of my videos. A little note before we start very quickly. YouTube has changed some settings and now I do not see, like on a first glance, I do not see your comments chronologically. I see them based on relevance. How does YouTube decide which comment is relevant? Who can say? I don't know. I've been missing comments and questions, so I'm actively going and filtering my comments based on if they contain a question, which I didn't have to do before because I was finding the comments and I was saving them on my phone beforehand. Now I cannot do that. So if I miss some questions, that is why. I will try to answer as many as I can. So without further ado, let's get to it. I just wanted to let you guys know that that's been happening. But anyway, let's start today's video. We shall take some of the questions you guys left. Very, very interesting questions this week or this month. But before we start, today's episode, together with this entire series, is of course sponsored by rePotme.com, who offers you everything you could possibly need to properly take care of your orchids. From potting mixes to pots, fertilizers, accessories, even grow lights, which I absolutely adore, and everything in between. And not only for orchids, other houseplants and succulents and cacti are included as well in their range, so I will link you to their website down below. Feel free to check them out at any time. I'll also link you to the products that I personally use and really like for years and years, and I think you'll enjoy them too. Righty, so with that said, got my companion today, and I always move my little tablecloth. Got my companion. This is the orchid that was unknown in my previous little tour. I do believe it's the Kiwi Galaxy something. It's from Orchids Deluxe. It's the first time she blooms, and she looks very pretty. I don't think she has a scent, but she looks very cute. She is, I do believe, a Brassavola hybrid. She might smell in the nighttime. I will be sure to come at night and smell her, and I will let you know. But with that said, let's start, shall we? It is time. Right, so first question from Ferret. Oh dear, I forgot my glasses. Bear with me. Your Wine Delight, Cattleya type by the way, is amazing. My Wine Delight with some variegated leaves seems to be set back as the new bulb is way smaller than the previous ones after I repotted it this year. Is this your experience every repot, or maybe it's just the first repot? For information, I got it last year, so it's my first repot for it. I don't actually experience this. Let me get my Wine Delight. This is him. I actually have him for about 2 years now, and when he arrived, I think he came with this tiny pseudobulb or this one, and then progressively you can see the pseudobulbs got bigger and bigger, and the latest pseudobulb is the biggest one. So having a smaller pseudobulb is not something that is normal. Definitely if you repotted once a year, which I tend to do as well. I just skipped this year because the things got in the way. But even if you repot every year, you will typically not get set back because these guys don't have very long-lasting roots anyway. So after about a year to a year and a half, the roots die off anyway. So after the dormancy, I typically do cut off all the roots, so I don't experience setback even if I repot or cut away all the roots. Your setback might be related to something entirely different. Maybe the orchid is still adjusting to your new environment. Maybe it was a little bit off season when you got it. Various reasons. It could also be the cultural, although I doubt it. Make sure it gets enough fertilizer. That is a must with Cattleya type orchids. They grow very fast. They need sustenance. They need water, fertilizer. They need to be rather moist than dry, in the growing season. So maybe it has something to do with the care. So one, it's not normal. Two, something stressed it. It's up to you to figure out what stressed it, because there are many reasons that I cannot really foresee. You have the orchid and you live in your environment, so think about all of these details. And it's okay if it's set back. Doesn't really mean much as long as you get the care right. Next year it will grow new pseudobulbs that are bigger and bigger. By the way, the battery that I just charged died. I think it's her time. So putting new batteries on the budget list. Right. I don't know where I got cut off, but it was a question about pests. How do I deal with thrips? And Janet says she's very nervous about the paraffin soap water mixture. And she hates thrips so much. I do too. So the whole water soap mixture is nothing I came up with. I kind of copied the recipe from the horticultural oils that are much more available in other countries, specifically in the US. That's where I got my inspiration from. In my area, they're not available, so I DIY'd it. I looked what they contained and kind of what ratios, and I just DIY'd it. If you don't feel comfortable DIYing it, I'm sure you can find on your market, if you're in the USA, you can find pre-made mixtures, horticultural oils based on mineral oils. This is what I would use because mineral oils are lighter than vegetable oils, so less dangerous, they will evaporate faster. That's why I copied that specific recipe and kind of made it easy to use it. So anyway, you can buy it if you don't want to DIY it. As for preventative, I never do preventative. I only use stuff when I see an infestation. Every time we use water on orchids, including just showering them, there's a let's say 1%, although the chance is smaller, 1% chance of getting some rotting. I always get it, but then again, I have almost 300 orchids. So based on my latest experience, 2-3 orchids kind of had some issues after the shower. Low ratio, 1%. That's 1% of my collection. But if you have a lot of orchids, you know, chances are growing higher. I don't think preventative is the way to go, so that's why I don't advertise it, because I don't do it. However, for thrips specifically, only one thing helped me, and I only applied it once, and that is, what's the name? Oh gosh, I didn't say it in a long time. I'll put it on the screen. It's a substance. I'll put it on the screen, and it works beautifully. Only did it once because only once I had severe infestation. Now I cannot really say I have thrips anymore, and if I see anything, I just use a little bit of leaf shine, which is mineral oil, again, because I cannot be bothered to mix the water and stuff. So I risk it even more with the leaf shine. Maybe not risk it yourself, but that substance is the only thing that worked for me because they're so hard to get rid of. And even if you do preventatives, no, thrips are tiny, they'll find ways. I would not do preventatives. I think it's worse than just eradicating an infestation when you have it, and just use that substance that I told you if you're totally out of ideas. For the other pests like spider mites and the fluffy ones, what's wrong with me today? The mealybugs. Yeah, I'm just using my either leaf shine or DIY solution, and it works just fine. But thrips need some heavy duty stuff. Next question from 90s Kid. Hey Danny, my own amazing Thailand is almost finished with its growing for the season, but I don't see any sheath. Why is there no sheath, and should I forget about any blooms for this year? I had a green knob with the gray dried spore. Yeah, okay. How do these Cattleyas work? Okay. Sadly for us, the amazing Thailand is one of those Cattleyas that blooms once a year. But she is actually active in her blooming. She's not as finicky as others. That's why I love her, and that's why I show it to you and recommend it. Sally, though, it's one of those. Only grows one growth per direction of growth per year. If you don't have a sheath on that growth in that year, yes, blooming is done, but hold on. Most likely next year it will bloom. It needs a good amount of light. The artificial light is good as well. Doesn't necessarily need natural light, good fertilizer, good watering, all of that fun stuff. But yeah, sometimes, especially if it's a newer orchid, it needs a couple of years to establish into your environment, or if you just repotted it. Although, as I was saying, compared to other slow-growing Cattleyas, she's one of the better ones. But yes, this is one of those that only blooms once a year, and this year, I don't think you're gonna have blooms, but hold on, trust me, she's so worth it. And I'm not here to lie to you. I have like a ton of these fluffy flowered Cattleyas that I've been waiting around for ages, and I'm on the verge of being like, you're gone. Amazing Thailand is not one of them. She's different. So hold on to her. You're not gonna regret it. It just takes time, man. It sucks, but it takes time. Right, next question. Justy Nazy? It doesn't actually show me your name, just your @ It's weird. Hi everyone, I need a specialist opinion. Well, I'll do my best. My Phalaenopsis newest leaf is broken in half at the crown. I've been through that. One half is simply not attached at the base. Should I let it grow like this or should I cut it off? Let it go. Let it grow, sorry. Even if you cut it, like from what I understand, you only have half of it broken, it's okay, it's fine. It's gonna look a little wanky. It is what it is, but it will grow. Even if you completely break, in many cases, if you completely break the leaf right at the crown, it will still grow. It's just gonna look chopped. And it's probably gonna be smaller, but it's okay. A broken leaf doesn't mean that the crown itself is affected. The crown is much deeper into a Phalaenopsis stem. You know, it has that funnel at the top, but the crown is way deeper. Where the actual leaf sprouts, it's quite a lot deeper. If you've ever had rot, you know that if you pull on the leaf at the top, you take out like this much more length until you get to the rot. So don't worry, a broken leaf at the top is nothing. Let it be, let it grow. If it bothers you visually, I mean, you can try to cut it a little, shape it a little, but it will grow. My guess is it will be absolutely fine. Next question from Jane. Hi, love your tutorials. Can you use a fungicide on all your orchids even when they don't have any problems as a precaution? Again, I do not use precaution stuff because every time we use something that contains water, we risk rotting them. And don't type, what are orchids doing in nature? This is not nature. This is our living room. It doesn't wind here. It doesn't rain with pure water here. It's tap water, lots of stuff. So don't compare the living room with the nature. It's a totally different thing. You're also growing these orchids potted. Do they grow potted in nature? They don't. So we have to adapt a little bit the rules of the game to suit us. Anyway, so as I was saying, any precaution also carries risk. For me, that risk is not worth it. Personally, I don't ever use fungicides because it's absolutely not needed. The rate of like having fungal infection in my environment, at least, is so small. Like once every, I don't know how many years, I guess I get something. And usually when I get something, it's my doing, and I'm like, well, should have known better. I called that one, you know, it's my fault. So there's no need for precaution. Now, if you might live in an area where fungal issues are an issue, you know, maybe I'm not the best person to give you advice. Maybe you should ask your orchid society. You know, sometimes that's a thing. If you grow your orchids in Florida, if you grow them outside, your orchid society and your local orchid growers will know much better things than me. My environment is so different. As much as I try to put myself in your shoes, there are some shoes that I cannot fill. Many. I'm kidding. You know what I'm saying? There are some instances in which, you know, I'm completely out of the equation. I cannot even imagine. So I can see how in a very warm, very humid environment, you might have serious fungal issues, and, you know, it might just be a must to use some fungicides. And if you can do it safely outside, you know, do it. That's why I'm saying, you know, I give you my personal take, but you might want to research more in your area what people are doing, because they might give you much better advice than me. Right. Next question from Grace. How can we make out if the fertilizers are enough or not? Well, you don't. You gotta trust a little bit the label. Hence why I'm just using particular fertilizers. I'm using the MSU, or Feed Me, how it's called now, rebranded now. It is the MSU formula, the Michigan State University. That's their formula. Or whatever fertilizer you are using, no matter what, follow the instructions, because in most cases, even if you don't have a full mini fertilizer, the manufacturer knows what ratios are best with the products they have, how to dose it so you don't overuse it, which is an issue as well. You can absolutely do that. You kind of have to use the fertilizer the way it's recommended to be used and see the results. If you feel like, you know, some orchids don't perform so well, you can add slow release additionally, and I'm talking about like catasetums or very fast growing orchids that are not the norm. Sometimes companies just make fertilizers for the phals and the oncidiums and all of those stuff, but there are some special orchids that are a little different. So I would say just follow the label and start to research a little bit about fertilizers and full menu fertilizers, and if you need to complete your fertilizer with any other fertilizers. Sadly, mass-produced fertilizers on the market only have the NPK, which are the macronutrients, but there's a whole lot of micronutrients, plus magnesium and calcium sometimes that you might need. So those things you will discover in time and after research, but just use it as it says on the label for now, especially at the beginning, so you don't do some mistakes. Next question from Sandra. Hi Danny, I'm a fan of the Q&A section of your channel, among other things of course. I saw in one of your earlier videos about Vandas that you prefer ceramic pots for them. Do you still prefer this setting for Vandas? Well, not so much, because currently I have my Vandas outside and it's so hot. It's still so hot. Not hot like I don't need to wear straps anymore. It's okay, I don't feel like fainting all that much anymore, but if I go outside a little bit, so the ceramic pots are a little too dry for me. They just lose water very fast, and currently I'm using the self-watering ones. Let me show you which one. I could just insert a picture here, which I will, but this is the self-watering type that I use. Of course, this is a Cattleya, and of course she's bound here, but anyway, I'm using these because they do retain more water, and outside is a very hot world. So pots, whatever works out for you. If ceramic works for you, great. If not, if it's too dry and hot, any pot will do. That's what I grow my Vandas in. You can grow them bare rooted as well. You can grow them potted. Personally though, ceramic pots, as much as I like them because they're heavy, and Vandas can be top heavy, they just lose water way too much. Next question from Whooper. Oh, okay, kind of in the same realm. What are some things we are using for thrips and other pests now? It might be thrips season. I did watch the video where you recommended those sticks from Cattleya. Oh, okay, but they seem to be unavailable at the moment. Don't really bother with them. I tried them because I didn't really have anything else, and I think to some extent they did actually work, but the other substance that I still cannot remember, what's happening with the old brain, the other substance still works better. So for thrips, if I ever have an issue, I will use that substance. I actually found it locally as well, and so far I didn't have any major thrips outbreaks, so I'm not considering it. But for other pests, as I was saying, I either use leaf shine, which I have it here always, so I can, like, let's say I have a little thing here, there we go. Much easier than to prepare, you know, the water thing with oil and everything. I will say though, that's a lot safer than what I just did, but I guess I like to live life on the edge. I don't know. I need some excitement in my life, I guess. That is the truth though. That's what I do for pests. It's just that this is very risky, but it's good if you're lazy. If not, just use that mixture that I will put down below in the description if some of you don't know it. Next question from Bokum Angel. Your plants are absolutely beautiful. Thank you. I noticed none of your pots have those holes on the sides. Don't orchids need those pots? And I also noticed all of your orchid leaves have sticks to hold them up. Mine are falling over. Should I be using sticks to help the stem stand upright? Love your videos. Right. Let's take the two questions one by one. Don't orchids need those pots? Not necessarily. Now, you will see in my collection that I do actually have pots with ventilation holes and so on. These are super old pots. They might be 10-year-old at the moment, but I still use them because they're good. When I used to live in Romania, the climate was a lot different than it is here. We had not so hot summers and much shorter summers than here. So these were actually very helpful, especially with layering. Here in this area, it's so hot for so long, and I cannot run my AC, even though it's running now. I cannot run it on 22 all the time, right? Like, let's be reasonable. I keep it at 28. So it's still very warm, very dry in here. So the ventilation holes are unnecessary because my pots dry so fast. I can use, you know, the nursery pots. I can use self-watering pots. I can use whatever pot I feel like it, pretty much. I get away with it. And I do use them just to show in the video that it is possible to grow orchids in all of these different types of pots if you know them, if you know what you're doing. But just for safety reasons, and especially in my beginner tutorials, I like to use transparent pots with holes just to not confuse a little bit the new people growing orchids and just to make a more like cohesive beginner tutorial. But yeah, for me personally, it doesn't really matter what type of pots I'm using. And, oh, not the last question. The last question, I don't know if it's a question. The last question is gonna be a funny one. So, second to last question. Orchid Quest has asked me, have you thought about the yellow Barinas with the white? It looks outdoor sunny. I have thought about it for years, 2 years. But it took me several years to purchase the Barinas that I kind of have now. And I have them for 5 years at this point or so. It took me about 2 years, 2.5 years to purchase everything, because I purchased them from Amazon USA because they're not available in Europe. And on top of more expensive transport, I also pay import fees, and that makes the price of these guys maybe even double sometimes. I know, but they fit, right? So when I saw they came up with the white ones, I was like, listen, in reality, the pink ones look very good and they really, really do make this room just shine. But on camera, they look absolutely dreadful. And it just, I'm sick of trying to figure out settings that I cannot figure out, not even with my phone. Nothing can get the proper light in here because, you know, it is how it is with cameras. They have some limitations, right? So I was considering to get the white ones and replace the pink ones, but it's so costly. And well, right now moving with the new house, I have other expenses and so on top of what I want to invest in, like for my own mental health and well-being and stuff, you know. I made a priority list, which, you know, paying the house is on top no matter what. But then, you know, comes other stuff like I want to do my garden, I want to get a new tattoo, I don't know, pay 100 euros for a tattoo. Every once in a while, you know, I'm budgeting those things that do something good for me. The Barinas can wait. However, I do have some spoilers for you. I have talked to Barina multiple times, like throughout the years, because at some point they started to like sponsor YouTubers. And there has always been a problem with me because I live in Cyprus, and shipping would have been too much for them, and they probably didn't have the budget for it. They contacted me again like a month ago, and again I reminded them I'm in Cyprus. Do you sure you want to continue this discussion? And they say yeah. Okay, so they want kind of to help with the transition with the Barinas to white ones, in the sense that they will cover the cost, but we shall be using Amazon. So I'm gonna be buying them from Amazon, getting them, and then they will cover the cost. So the initial cost will still have to be on me for a while, and I have to budget around 600 euros, and I can't do it overnight. I'm budgeting it. It's a great opportunity that I'm so grateful after so many years, you know, finally, like, let's collaborate, Barina. But it still is on me. I need to budget it first, and, you know, still the import fees and everything are just so expensive. It takes a while, but I'm working on it. I'm really, really working on it. I'm excited about it. It's just not going to happen really soon. I'm hoping by Christmas I can do like the budget. I'm going to try to prioritize it a little more. And yes, that's my goal, changing the pink Barinas to the white ones and getting the yellowish warm white light that my camera absolutely loves. Actually, my camera absolutely loves. So I'm on it, you guys. Right, and the last question that I shall be addressing, it's a funny one. I'm thinking sometimes maybe to insert, not necessarily funny, but like not necessarily orchid related either. But yeah, Kevin asked me, why move to Cyprus? The answer is love. My current husband lives in Cyprus, and it just worked much better for me to move here because I can work from home and support ourselves than him moving to Romania. He has a very specific type of job and it's much better for him here. So I just moved my life here because of him, and I don't regret it. Right, so that has been it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching this video and hanging out with me, and I hope I got to answer your question. If I didn't, I'm gonna be filming another video right after this one. Stay tuned. Thank you so much rePotme for sponsoring this video and this entire series for so many years. I'm so grateful. I could not have done many of the things in this room, and not only without rePotme's support. So I'm so thankful to you guys as well that you support them as well, because it kind of comes back to me. So just love for everything and everybody, and thank you so much for sticking around in these kind of busy times. Right, so that said, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!